And here we go. Welcome back to a Project Bestseller Weekly Recap Podcast episode, baby. Here we go. We are on week 5, and I'm going to shoot it to you straight. I crushed this week. All right. So this was the first week since starting this challenge where I was home every single day of the week. And to put it in perspective, it's been 36 days since we started, and you'll see exactly where we finish up. But this week was really important to me, not only because it was the first week that I was home for the entire time, but I had my most difficult week of this challenge last week. Okay, week 4 was probably the toughest one because I was on the road for the majority of it. And this week was really important for me because I wanted to absolutely crush it. I wanted to make sure I got some rest. And I really wanted to make sure that I was executing and I got ahead of pace. And so let me just say this simply as I can. We dominated. And I hope that if you're doing this and following along with us, that you are dominating, that you're finding some days are better, some days are worse, but every day you're making progress. And that's what it's all about. When you're writing a book, it's about that momentum. It's about that habit. It's about that consistency. It's about showing up for yourself to create the book that you know you are destined to create. So let me break it down what happened this week. We're going to go Monday through Sunday. We got 7 days of pure action. Now, Monday, I got my bearings together. I started the week off. I got my bearings together and I self-edited. Again, I'm in the self-editing phase. This shit takes time. You're rereading your book twice. You're doing a verbal read-through and a chapter-by-chapter read-through. And so this takes time, and you have to have the right mind space to really make the right progress. But Monday, I got going, I got back at it, and it felt really good. Tuesday, I finished my first round of self-editing. And what this means in my own terms and in my own words is that I did the verbal read through and I finished my first rounds of self-edit. I'd gone from start to finish. And now I was going to go back through it again, reading it based on the changes that I made and really making sure that everything made sense and that I had all the right stories in place. Day number 3, aka Wednesday, hump day. So what I did on Wednesday was I really focused on my chapter by chapter read through. I engaged with the cover designer that I'm hoping to use for this book just to get to know and see what their schedule was. I wanted to start prepping that, knowing that we are on a short timeline. And I focused on my chapter selection. So up until this point of the process of the self-editing phase, I had kind of just made general chapter breakdowns. And I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to organize each chapter or structure each chapter. And so that's what I did on Wednesday. I did my chapter by chapter read through, and then I gave myself a little bit of time to do some additional tasks and still stay focused. Thursday, self-editing. Nothing to it. Thursday was just execution. Friday, and this is where everything gets a little bit interesting for the week. Friday, I blocked off the entire morning. And the reason I did this was because I knew that I had to get this book to the editor by the following Monday. And so I blocked off a couple hours. And when I say I blocked off the whole morning, I blocked off a couple of hours to just work on my book. I didn't set up any meetings and I just executed. And I loved this because it was just me and my book. I was just feeling it. I was excited about it. It kind of felt like instead of just doing it as my daily routine, it really felt just good because I had more time. I didn't have anything on the back end of it. So I knew that I would just go until I felt good. And that's really, really freeing, is that I just kind of gave myself that space. And so we made huge progress and I really worked on it for quite some time that day. Again, we'll go into the time breakdown here, but all I'm doing at this point of the self-editing is I'm going step by step. Chapter by chapter, section by section, paragraph by paragraph, word by word. And I'm really just making sure, does this help my reader? Is this necessary? Does this story add value? Do I have enough stories? Do I need to add anything else to make that point stronger? What can I give my readers that they would want as the next step? That's how I think about self-editing. Fast forward to Saturday and I finish most of my self-editing. I adjust my chapter titles again, which was really huge for me because I really wanted to lock this in enough to send it to the editor so that it would be a little bit more organized. And I started working on subtitle ideas on Saturday. So that was really cool. I've been toying around with a bunch of different ideas. And so that was really cool to really break it down and start brainstorming what my subtitle would be, because I've known the the title of the book for quite some time, but now I really wanted to hone in on the subtitle. And I know the general gist of it, but I really want to make sure that it's right. Am I using the right keywords? Is it tell you exactly what you need to know? What audience is it, right? I really want to make sure that I have this dialed in. Fast forward to Sunday, and basically what I just did was I put it all together. All right, self-editing was done. I just did one more quick look through. I got the chapter titles dialed in. I prepped everything to be sent, and I took a break. Now, at this point, and I tell our authors this all the time, but I feel the same thing that you guys do when you write your book. And I was starting to feel a little bit nervous. It was Sunday, and I was like, oh, shoot. Tomorrow I'm sending my book to the editor. And I was a little bit nervous just because, I know that it's a great book, but just like with our authors, it's like, could it be better before I send it? What are they going to think? I still have these thoughts, but I just reminded myself of what I tell our clients. I said, you know what, look, I could revise forever, but this book is very, very good. If somebody's to read this book, they will get the result that I aim for them to achieve. And if I need to add more, I can, but this is where I'm at. I feel really good about it, and I'm going to go with it. And so sometimes I think when we're self-editing, we can get into this thought of, I want to spend more time. I want to spend more time. There's so much more I could do. And the truth of the matter is, you're right. But that doesn't mean you should, because sometimes people get so caught up and they just revise, self-edit. And then months and months go by. And meanwhile, the book has only increased by maybe a percentage or two. All right. And so I really want to encourage you. And this is what I encouraged myself was like, look, I said, is the book good? Does the reader get the result I aim for them to get by reading this book? And the answer to that was a resounding yes. So I said, you know what? We're good. We're going to rock with it, and we're going to go with it. All right, there we go. So week 5 update, we crushed it. We slayed it. And let me show you about the time here, because this is really, really fascinating. So Monday, we did 60 minutes. Tuesday, we did 87 minutes. Wednesday, 53 minutes. Thursday, 67 minutes. Friday, I spent 132 minutes. All right. Remember, I blocked off my morning and just let myself go until I felt good. That was huge. Saturday, 94 minutes, and Sunday, 54 minutes. So this week, all right, you guys, this week, I spent 9 hours and 7 minutes this entire week, which is 78.14 minutes per day. Okay. I spent 78 minutes on average for this. Now, if you compare this with everything in the previous weeks, even just comparing it to last week, this is a lot more time than I've spent. Well, guess what? I had a deadline, and I'm not going to make excuses. And also, I was back in my element. And so I was able to get into that routine again and really stay disciplined on that. Was I able to still run my business? Yes. It didn't detract or distract me from anything. And so I really want you guys to recognize that. Sometimes you're going to find weeks where you go 5 hours. Some weeks you're going to go 9 hours. But overall, it's going to end up averaging about an hour. And when we look at this, I have spent so far my total time on Project Bestseller through 36 days. I have spent 31 hours and 7 minutes working on this book. That's an average of 52.67 minutes on average per day. All right, so that means that I have picked my idea, validated my idea, outlined my book, wrote my rough draft, self-edited my draft, found my editor, all within an hour a day. All right. And to remind you, I'm just going through the process the same as the way that I teach our clients, and I'm just documenting it. I'm just literally marking and tracking every single thing. And I'm pretty surprised that it is exactly around this. And here's why I'm pretty surprised. Because I have traveled more than I ever have when writing a book. I have brought in more business than I ever have when writing a book. I have done a lot more. I've given 2 keynotes. I've celebrated the Jewish holidays. There have been a lot going on in these first 36 days. And so the fact of the matter is that we're right here on day 36 is incredible. And it's not only incredible because I'm doing it, but it's incredible because if I can do it, you can do it. All right? Sure, I know how to write these books. I've done it 3 times. But what I'm doing is just focusing on the daily action. I'm honoring my commitment that I made from our very first week together. Okay. And I'm putting in the work. So that's where we're at. All right. We wrote the rough draft in 17 days. All right. We self-edited in less than 2 weeks. We are making incredible progress. And what we have upcoming here in week 6, my goal is to get my book to the editor, right? First thing Monday, book's going in hand, straight to the editor. I'm going to get my cover design ordered and start sending them the form that they need. This is the basic information. I'm going to start my lead generation. We're going to get front and back matter really dialed in. And I'm going to even start reaching out to formatters. Now, here's also what I want to share with you for this. Once the book goes to the editor, my book's out of my hands. So now it's about all the production and development side of things so that as the editor's working, I'm still making progress on my book, even though I'm not actually writing my book or doing anything with my book. And I'll be doing that until the editor sends me back the first round of edits. So that's what I have for you today. That's where we're at in Project Bestseller. I'm freaking stoked about the progress right now. I'm so stoked to hear everything that you guys are sharing with me as you listen to these episodes. As you listen to these episodes, as you have fun, as you write your own books. I mean, this is freaking what it's all about. This is what it's all about. It's about putting the fun and the magic back in your business. It's about writing a book that you know you were meant to write. It's about sharing a story you know people need to hear. And it's about doing something where we put in the work one time and you're able to reap the benefit for years and years and years to come. I mean, this is the name of the game, folks. So I appreciate your time, energy, and attention, just like always. And I cannot wait to hear where you're at in your book. So have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll be back next week with another amazing episode of our Project Bestseller Recap.